Please state your name and address for the record, please.
William James Haynie III. I go by Jim. I was born in Irvington. I remember when we had to cross ferry boats to visit here when I lived in Hampton as a youth. And then I remember when the bridge was built. My father told me that the reason the bridge was so high was so that sailboats could go under the bridge. And that piqued my interest in sailing, which has been a lifelong hobby. My professional career, I began my career as a high school electronics teacher. My career progressed until eventually I retired from North Carolina State University as a professor and coordinator of the Technology, Engineering, and Design program. I probably taught some of the engineers that work for Dominion and other power concerns in our state. Along the way, I wrote a textbook on electronics. I taught courses in graduate school that dealt with technology impact. I think that some of the other speakers are probably going to try to make a case that Dominion doesn't care. That Dominion is only out for profits, and that Dominion is an ogre in this event. I'm not going to try to make that. I believe that Dominion does care. I point to their energy share program, to which I contribute at times. It helps people that can't afford their energy be compensated so that they can have effective energy. I point to the fact that Dominion prides themselves on making it possible for people to be actively engaged in military service if they are Dominion employees and not be treated badly in their finances for doing so. I also point to some literature that Dominion sends with the bills occasionally, telling the good things that they do for our environment. But I think they're wrong in this case. I think the cables would be safer under the water. There's a little local airport. I'm sure that there are some inexperienced pilots that come in there. I've always had some concern that they might hit the bridge, and these towers will stick up even higher than the bridge. I think that outside towers are more accessible to terrorists. I think it would be possible for a tower to be hit by a barge, despite the fenders. You know that the Hampton Roads Bridge tunnel got hit by a barge right after it was built. But my sailing hobby leads me to the most concern. Sure, I care that they'll be ugly. There have been many times when I have sailed my 37-foot sailboat on the Rappahannock River at Chesapeake Bay. On at least 3 events, I've had to come back home without engine power, alone at night during storms. I went back and looked at my log records. During one of those events, the winds were such that I would not have been able to make it through the fenders. I've examined the fenders as they're presented in the big thick book at Lancaster Courthouse and made measurements. I believe I would have needed 3 or more tacks to make it through those fenders with the wind against me. That's not safe. 3 tacks in that short a span, especially for a single-handed sailor, would have been very, very difficult. If there were other traffic coming through, that would not have been possible. I implore that Dominion really consider putting these cables underground. I think it is possible. I think other projects that are far more difficult have been done with the underground approach. It might cost a little more, but we get a better product. It may cost a little more, but our environment will be much prettier. And our environment is important to this region. I thank you for the opportunity to speak. That is my testimony.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.